Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yeah.
Hello. Good.
Hello.
Hello. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. Sorry, I put on my video. Okay. Here we go.
So for the moment, it's just the two of us.
Okay.
Actually, there are three of us because I also have, I don't know if you can see it, a Google Assistant.
Okay. the microphone. Yeah.
Can you please introduce yourself briefly?
Yes, I'm a postdoc researcher at the University of Glasgow. And it was interesting, like in this session, how we can like interface ourselves with the we humans with machines, basically, as you said. So quite interested in this topic.
Yes. Yes. I am admitting some more people that are trying to get in. I see them trying to saying that they try to join. Hello, everyone. Hello, Igor.
Hello.
I'm not sure if it's a bad connection on my side or if something else, but if you hear me well, that means it's all good. Hello? All good. Now I see. Okay. Igor, there are three of us here, and we have the fourth one, which is the Google Assistant. I try to bring a piece of artificial intelligence to see how it could help us. Marco, do you hear us well?
Yes. No. Yes. Yeah.
I might have a problem. I might have a problem with internet connection. I've noticed this morning, and I know that I live in Munich. Last week we had a big problem with Vodafone here in the city. But I hope we can carry on. If I turn my image off, it could be helpful. What I would like to share with you in the chat, there are two links which we will use today. First is a Jamboard, this one, just a second, where we can collect some ideas. We can tell something about us. And then just in a while, I will share also a Google form where we can make a short poll. It is important to say that this session is recorded and it will be made available through a YouTube channel and to the whole conference. And of course, when you are not speaking, please mute yourself. This is a normal thing. And yes, please do raise your hand or open your mic and intervene whenever you think it's necessary. So if you can go to the Jamboard now and let me know if you see it. Okay. And we have a number of sheets on this Jamboard. We have why am I here? Please feel invited to write post-its as you wish. I remind you that this workshop is organized with a unconference 20 minutes. Then we'll have a round of questions, and then we'll decide if to draw conclusions or to do another session of unconference. We need to close it in 55 minutes, not in 60 minutes, because I need 5 minutes to get to the studio and report. The second sheet on the Jamboard is brainstorming. You can, again, put post-its here with all sorts of ideas as they come while we are talking. And the third one is with Noisia, but of course, if you turn it like this, I hope you see, it's with the vision that we can have. So either it could be a noise or a vision. So this is the Jamboard. And the second link we will use is is a Google form, and I'll put it in the chat right now. I see we have some more people in the waiting room. This is the waiting room. Admit. This is the you are kindly invited to fill it in during this workshop or at the end. And allow me to say hello to Christina. Christina, please click on the Gmboard, the first link on the chat, and it will be intuitive. Please start writing post-its and questions there. Please be aware there are 3 sheets on the Gmboard. Now, very quickly, what do you think about persuasive algorithms? If you know something about them, if you would like to make short introductions, thoughts about them. I remind you, the first part is an unconference, so it's a very informal discussion in which we try to understand where we come from and what kind of ideas do we have. Who wants to start first? Marco?
Yeah, so I'm actually a biomedical engineer, so I don't know much about the persuasive algorithm. So I was like, wanted to know a little bit more about this topic and try to understand the whole process, how they can influence our lives.
Okay. Christina, what do you know about persuasive algorithms?
First time, I find very sci-fi. Your approach is very logical to work data between AI and humans, and it's for the first time when I see something like this topic. But I think it's very necessary. But it's for the first time.
Oh.
It's for the first time for me. Thank you.
Okay, if you allow me to make a short introduction maybe about these persuasive algorithms. So we have internet, which started as a library of knowledge artifacts, a library of information pieces. It started in CERN. And then we soon saw that this is something that could develop in more, and it has been taken in other areas of our life, including entertainment, including other kind of content, and all sorts of platforms. We learned through internet that we can interact to each other, and we can socialize, for example. It's not the only thing. We can transform internet in a platform. It started also to create a business model in this sense. Investors started to invest in the new internet and realized the potential. Then this was the investment phase. Then we realized that we can connect things as well. And then still it was hard to understand how we can return all this investment. And all of a sudden it came an idea that by having people giving so much of their attention to what exists on the internet at that time, we can use this attention. And how best we can use it, trying to influence these people that are giving their eyeballs to us, we can influence them in their own decisions. And that time, nobody had looked at the ethics. It looked as a perfectly fine system in which people are benefiting from a wealth of content, are giving them their attention, and through some algorithms, we can convince them to go left and not right, to vote this thing and not the other thing, and to choose one thing or not the other thing, or even to buy things. Internet became a place where we can put a lot of artifacts, information as well, but all other things. We can create platforms. And one good thing to make it running and sustainable is to persuade those that are consumers, those that are on internet, to persuade them as we wish. Little ethics has been given to this situation. Now, it's very common to have these persuasive algorithms on internet. One example of such algorithm is the recommendation bar that we have almost in all platforms on internet. YouTube, almost everywhere. Of course, persuasive algorithm is when we scroll down through social media. That's also a persuasion. Some people would say there's nothing wrong. Also, a number of companies induce this idea that they are helping, actually, they are not persuading, they are helping by creating a targeted content, a content that is close to your interests.
Sometimes I feel trapped.
I don't want to say anything. So, sorry?
I feel trapped. Sometimes I feel trapped on this kind of recommendation, and they are built on my history. They use my history, and I'm trapped in my past. It's impossible to diversify my options, to get new options, really new options, because they use my history. And when I search more I search, more I am back in my past. I feel it. I do not have proofs for this. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, please. This is the characteristic of this workshop. We should interact each other. We should intervene each other. Questions as well, comments as well, statements of all kinds. What do you think, Marco, so far?
Yes, I can see that the system that we live in now is completely based on this type of algorithms. Especially they are like optimized for like making profit. So they want us. These algorithms are made for us to stay as long as we can on these platforms, in order to see as much, for example, as many ads as possible, in order to optimize their goal, their target, which is us to see ads in order to buy more stuff, or like to decide whether to vote right or left, or anything else, like changing our perception of the world in a way that suits the owner of the algorithm, let's say.
So this is maybe thank you. This is maybe the right time to make a first connection with the conference we are in. These algorithms are pieces of written codes by humans, which are developing, assisted by humans. Some of them, they are self-developing as well. And they are consuming something in their development. Like, to make an analogy with humans, they need to feed with something in order to grow. And this something they feed is data. The obvious choice of data sets for them is not the research data. It is the personal data from people, in which, of course, they can understand profiles. I say they, but that means people that are writing these algorithms. I'm not a lunatic thinking that these algorithms have life. So, of course, personal data is they have a great appetite for personal data, because in that sense, they can create profiles. Research data is coming as a second dish, or for example, as a salad. Some research data is useful for them because research data could be informative for them at the edge of, at the frontier of their understanding. If they can create with personal data, for example, simple patterns, obvious patterns that some people in Zurich, well, let me give a naive example. 70% of people in Zurich at 12:30 during the day, they stop working and they go for a short lunch. They come back at 1:30. So by analyzing personal data, these algorithms could understand such a simplistic pattern. But for more advanced pattern, they need data that is not easy for them to collect. For example, a large data set from behavioral scientists that could predict that, well, the scientists collect that data set in order to understand how they could predict the obvious choice for a niche group of people in certain situations. For example, in an emergency situation. This is something that is not data simple to achieve by robots. They could, algorithms, they could, of course, achieve this set of, well, this wisdom, but by accessing the set of data which is created by researchers.
Right.
So this is why we have this workshop in this event, because we are advocating for open data. We are advocating for fair data, which is machine readable data. Fair data is machine readable data. But I think it's very important to fix an understanding, to set an understanding. Are we fine to allow persuasive algorithms to use that kind of research data? So this is why we have this workshop here. My personal opinion is that we should not be at all supportive to persuasive algorithms at all. The humankind would be much better without persuasive algorithms. And to make sure that, at least from our side, from what we can do, research data, we can stop this and even reverse this movement. Any comments from your side?
Can I ask you?
Yes, please.
Yeah. What do you mean by reverse this system and this approach?
Well, for example, if we apply the right licenses to our data sets, let's put the most extreme example, a fair data set which is also open to everyone. In that case, a persuasive algorithm could ingest that data set and start to become, to build wisdom, let's say robotic wisdom from it, to be used in further persuasion. If we put the right license to that, at least through the license, is not complete, but at least through the license, we say to Google, we say to anyone else, this set of data is not to be ingested, not to be used by your algorithms. And this way we can stop this movement and even reverse it. Because if it works, we can present it to other walks of life, not only to research, and other walks of life would start to consider not making their data set available to persuasive algorithms. We can go even further if we are successful and create a piece of law, a framework in which persuasive algorithms should be banned. I'm not against artificial intelligence. I'm not against technology. I'm using artificial intelligence. And not all artificial intelligence is a persuasive technology. I think we need, and it's fine to have artificial intelligence, but I don't see any reason for which we, humankind, need or should accept to be persuaded by algorithms. By saying that, please interrupt me at any time. Please use the Jamboard, write post-its there. So I continue, but please do interrupt me as you wish. I want to say that persuasion, yes, please, Marco.
Yeah, I have a comment on the persuasion. So basically, I totally agree that we need more regulation, because there's not regulation, especially in ethics, on the big companies, for example, Google, Facebook, or Amazon, on how they use their algorithms, and they use it to their own advantage to make massive profits out of the people trying to persuade people in buying or using their services. What I'm wondering here,
political structures are
using
it. Are using it even more.
Yeah. No, I can see with all these scandals.
Democratic governments, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can see with the scandal with Cambridge Analytica, which they clearly influenced both the Brexit vote and the Trump election in 2016. I'm wondering whether if the main problem would be that the actual goal of using persuasive algorithms, or the the idea of persuasive algorithm per se would be a problem, because like I can see that the goal is always like a matter of how we use our technology, not the technology itself. Would it be, do you think you can see any positive way to use these algorithms, or it's better like just to move away and try to use something else, come up with something different, for example?
I could make an intervention in regard to observation
yes,
of Markov. Yeah, I'm working more on labor market, and I think those kinds of algorithms, persuasive algorithms, could be useful for helping people to find a good job, to find a good skill for them, because this kind of artificial exploitation of the data could help people to adjust to the new digital transition. You know, if I have a long experience in my back, my experience on the labor market is so difficult for a consultant to give me an advice. What should I have to learn in a lifetime? You know, I do not have so much time to learn, but I need to learn a very specific kind of knowledge to could help, to could adapt myself to the new requirements of the labor market. I think those kinds of algorithms could be very useful.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
And this is my point as regarding Marco's observation. I think those kinds of algorithms could have a very practical use and could be very useful and very practical and very ethical, of course.
I can see that point, but I think from the labor perspective, it's always like we live in a society, and depending on the ideological belief of people, of, for example, the government, where they want to push us in order to have some type of jobs, they can be good, but they might push us to do some jobs that are not really good for us. So that's my point on the actual goal. Either having like,
sesiunea 4.
We hear you.
I think that might be good, for example, living in this pandemic, having good campaigns for vaccination. Then you can persuade people for like health reasons.
Hello,
but
can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Tiberius, can you hear us? Oh, we lost him. Yeah, I think we need more understanding how they actually work and the actual goal, for example, of these algorithms and who is using them and for which reason, and having more legislation, some more ethical laws on how to use them and if they really improve the quality of life of people, because it's always like difficult to say this is good for you, but who determines what's good or what's bad for someone? Someone needs to draw a line, and usually who's drawing the line in this case is the owner of the algorithm. For example, the company, or like Google, YouTube, Facebook, and now the only goal that they have for this algorithm is to make a profit.
Yeah.
So that's so they draw the line what's good and what's bad. So we need to have less and more ethical decision on how to use this algorithm, how they should be used. Of course, I'm gonna find some caveats and try to get around that, but I think we are be able to stop this movement. But
it's very difficult to stop. And I think this is the problem also in regard to the AI on jobs and work. This is the same problem. Do we have to pay AI if work? And is it finally is a competition? Is a substitution effect on the labor market? And I have to reallocate the labor if I improve the work, because usually when you use AI in work, you improve the quality of life of the worker. You have to
yeah, that should be one of the goals as well.
Yes, I have a good goal, but finally, if you look at the Osborne, and there are a lot of researchers from America, they estimate we could lose around 70% of jobs until 2025. You know, it's a huge impact on the labor market, on those kinds of technologies. And here is the very famous request from the Elon Musk. He make this statement that we have to anticipate the regulation of labor market for AI and not to be reactive. We have to be proactive. We have to anticipate. It's a very, very new. It's how could I say? It's disruptive. It's disruptive. New. It's very new.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, and I agree with Tiberius. We need to look on the both sides of the moon, the bright side, but also to understand the dark side. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. Because now there's no regulation at all, so they basically do whatever they want.
But to be
also, Elon Musk say, "Oh, we don't need to be." Sorry.
We have to be to anticipate them, not to react when the ball is split, when the milk is split.
Yeah. We need to have like a proper conversation, not to stop it but to understand it and try to use it as in the best way as possible. But we lost Tiberius.
Of course, but it's also Ciprian. I see another person here. Hello, yeah. Ciprian. Tiberius call us to use another link. I don't know if it's available.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, now yes.
Sorry, I disappeared because my connection was so bad and Zoom took me out. It happened. Well, I never experienced such a thing. As I said, I live in Munich, and we are notorious for having the internet not the best in Europe, in Germany, and last week we had a problem with Vodafone in the city, and now I see it's extremely severe. Sorry about this, colleagues.
That's okay. Progress with technology.
I hope you enjoyed the discussion even without me. And then I don't want to interrupt you. Please do continue. I will keep my video off. Maybe this way it will work.
Yeah, might help.
So
no, I think we were agreeing on the fact that we need more to talk more about how to use these algorithms, if they are useful, very useful, and for who they might be useful, and if you need to move away from them or using in a better way. Christina, do you want to add anything to that?
I had the presentation.
No, I fully agree with you. And I think it's a very important approach to think on the both sides, to look on this approach of the technology. And you all before mentioned, Marco, before mentioned this kind of approach regarding technology. Technology in essence is not good and is not bad. It doesn't matter the technology. When you use the technology, you give this sense. Human is the one who change and who gives a sense. I am at the base. I'm an engineer, and I could say that usually we try to find something like miracles, and in those days, nowadays, we use technology as a fairy, as a fairy. You know, we think that AI could solve any problem, but we have to understand it's a tool, and we have to understand which are the limits of this tool, and where is appropriate to use, and of course, what are the expected results. And I think it's the same idea that Marco mentioned before. We have to be more informed and to be more responsible. And that means, again, we need ethics and regulation.
If I may, yes, please.
This was my point of view.
I thought there was someone else who wanted to get in. If I might say, at the beginning of the century, well, last century, it was a movement in Vienna, and it was called Vienna Circle. And this Vienna Circle was a group of scientists, philosophers, scientists in the British sense of scientists, so those more from hard sciences, and then also philosophers and sociologists and others. And they were at the beginning of the last century, they were discussing about the role of science in society. Vienna Circle disappeared after the Second World War, and I don't know any other movement in Europe or anywhere else in the world which is trying to continue to understand the role of science and research in society. At this point, this is why we didn't have these ethical discussions when we started to develop algorithms like this, because we somehow frozen the discussion of what role science should play. And for prosperity was the fact that we have grants for research. I don't want to get too much. It's now time for those from social science and humanities to come next to engineers, to come next to scientists from hard sciences, and discuss the implication of their discoveries, the implication of their pursuit of bizarre. We need the right to pursue the bizarre. We need the right to be curious in the most hidden places of our nature and society. But we need to associate our work and the outcome of our work with social and understanding. In this respect, with these algorithms, I had this presentation at Cambridge University last week about persuasive algorithms in the context of reusability of data. And it was a question about the positive persuasion, like persuading someone to take the pill when the pill is prescribed by the doctor at the right time. Let not having us into a confusion. That is not a persuasion, or if you want to call it, is the most naive form of persuasion. That is a reminder, is not a persuasion. A persuasion is something that is invisible, appears invisible. Is not something that is telling you, if you are not doing this, I'm gonna put you on the corner, or I'm gonna make this and that to you. persuasion could be very friendly. Could be as they try to describe it now in cookies, saying if you allow cookies, we will be able to better serve your interests. And this is the most perversive form of persuasion, when people don't understand, first of all, it's coming from robots. Secondly, is don't understand that is an external willingness to convince you doing things in one way or another. And I will share in the chat, I will share a number of links because my connection is so unstable. I will share all the links just to make sure you have them, to understand the current progress in algorithms. It is that they can pass as humans. They create conversation as bots. They connect to each other to answer that conversation, to give the sense to us humans that this is a living conversation. And also IBM, through their most advanced artificial intelligence, Watson, the robot, they were able at human, how is it called, that debate, to beat the best human debate, the world's champion humans at the debate. So Watson, the IBM artificial intelligence, beaten the best humans in debating. I will put all this. So I hope you will have them now. Please do confirm me if you have them. So yes. in the end, the aim of this workshop is to drive attention about making data open and making data machine readable, which I strongly support. I want to have, and I wish to have research data being transparently made available to other scientists, but to make sure that we attach the right license and not to become available to persuasive algorithms. And I do understand that some of these algorithms may act illegally and they could not be tracked. But at least to those that are legally employed, these persuasive algorithms that we see on legal platforms like Facebook, like YouTube, like many others, a lot of online stores, a lot of news platforms, at least these algorithms that are acting legally, to understand that they cannot touch research data if they employ persuasion. If they don't employ persuasion, they are fine. But if they employ persuasion, if they try to convince people that this is a relevant piece of news for you, or this is a piece of cloth that you would like to buy, it passes good to you, those algorithms should be banned to use research data, in my humble opinion. Let me check if there is something on the, I see there is nothing on the Jamboard. Probably you didn't find it very useful, right?
Mainly, since it's quite new, I mean, I understand the general topic, but since it's quite new and mainly thinking and try to understand and process the information. So I'm not using that much for writing.
Yeah, so sorry, my connection didn't help much in this workshop.
That's normal.
May I say, may I take as for reporting in the feedback that this topic of persuasive algorithms is still new, at least one conclusion from our workshop. It's still apparently still new to researchers, but it's worth to be considered.
Yeah. No, yeah, I believe it's, I mean, as I said, I'm a biomedical engineer. I haven't had any training on type of algorithms or all the new science on that. I'm just like reading on my own myself. So I think, yeah, it's really important also to have like a good education of the public on how this system works, what they can do, because I think one of the main problem, I mean, I was reading about that. Since we don't have any ethics or regulation on these platforms, there is no also education for people. So the general public don't know much about how it works. And even I think if you know how it works, they really go into the deep psychology of humans. And even if you know that, you are caught in the cycle. I mean, if you know how it works, and then you go on YouTube and then you go through your recommendation, you don't even realize that this is what's going on. You might realize it, but then you're still like caught up in the dopamine releasing system that keeps you there.
It is a piece of great risk, Marco, and you are a biomedical engineer. In many hospitals nowadays, there are used pieces of software, algorithms that are called decision support algorithms, which means the doctor is informed by a piece of algorithm about certain probabilities and possibilities for their patients and what kind of medication is recommended. All is fine up to this moment, from what I understand. But imagine, and this is something that researchers and academics have embedded in their responsibility to imagine the future, to anticipate the future. So imagine that we get persuasive algorithms in this clinical support tool.
And for persuasive,
drugs, certain medical procedures.
I think you froze, but I think you were saying that, yeah, you can use this algorithm, this persuasive algorithm in the medical field. As you said, like, do you think this could be more like an advice or like what you should take, or using these the persuasive algorithms from some companies in order to boost some profits from some drugs? Is what you think is the risk here?
Yes, this is one risk. These algorithms are now widespread in developed countries as clinical tool, AI clinical tool. They are widespread now. They are all fine at this moment, as I can see. But if we and remember, the persuasion is getting in, is stepping in quite smooth, unobserved. And if we have persuasion indicating doctors to prescribe certain drugs or to put a patient in certain medical treatment, then of course it's not only that we will have more ill people that could actually not be ill. We already see this tendency of hypochondry, of people thinking they are ill when it's not really clear. And I don't think someone persuaded this. I think this is a fashion, not a persuasion at this moment. But if we have people and investors thinking that this could be a way forward, including thinking that this could be a way forward good for humanity, in fact, then very dangerous having doctors being influenced by algorithms to put patients in certain medical conditions. This is something that is very dangerous. As I said, we need to anticipate and we need to guard ourselves from a possible future as well, not necessarily from a reality, but also from a possible future. That's why I think robots is such a bad idea. I also think that persuasion stays at the first stages of human history. Persuasion has been used for thousands of years. We try to persuade people through threatening
politics,
and
right?
other techniques. Yes, but I think we humans learned and developed in a way from other human persuaders. We know when we enter a shop, we know that the the people there could try to persuade us to buy something, and we have that we had that protection, that mechanism to know to protect ourselves. But we are completely unprotected when robots are persuading us, when it's not clear that we are in a situation when something is persuading us. Even more when this something, this algorithm, knows so much about us from our digital footprint. When such persuasion machine is not sleeping and we are sleeping, when they can persuade concomitantly thousands and millions of people, it's not like getting into a store and the person, the salesman there is busy with someone else, and I have my quiet, and I can look to whatever I want and make my own decisions. The robot is able to persuade all 20 people in the shop at the same time, or 20 million of people. So you are, from the first moment you step into that shop, you are persuaded. This is something new for humans. So while we have persuasion at the first pages of human history, living with alien creatures like these persuasive algorithms, it's completely new for humankind. And I'm not sure we have the protection activated.
In place, yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's way more capillary now, the invasion of the controllers. For example, as you said at the beginning, you had like a Google Assistant next to you. So if we have like either a Google Assistant on our phone, always on, or Alexa from Amazon, always on in our house, they keep collecting our data. And that's, yeah, we don't have any, so far, I'm not aware of any regulation on that. That is try to limiting their access and how they use the data.
I don't know if for this kind of algorithm, there is no assessment methodology or technology, because they have to be tested and classified finally. And if they are on this kind of level of action, we have to build something like shields against them, or something like antiviruses. Because if I am a human, I'm not able to control them, and I'm not able to identify them. And as before, when I have an attack of viruses of my computer, I have to install something like an antivirus. You see, like RAR or something like, you know, I think we have to, it's a layered, or it's a level of action, this kind of action of ethical or regulation, but I think it's impossible to control them, because it's finally it's a monopoly in behind. I don't know if they have, those companies are 10 or 15 on the global level, and I don't know if they have a competition. It's a monopoly in behind, and I don't know if we have the technology to apply this kind of policy or police for protect us from this kind of actions, because these actions are, from your definition, finally with illegal objective from the very beginning, because it's not finally me as a beneficiary of this kind of services, I am manipulated, and really I do not have my own decision. This kind of persuasion is more devil. This is the devil, finally. I don't know. You see, if we could define very correct.
Yes, I need to close now, because I need to go and report in the main stage. I once again, I apologize for this internet connection, and I couldn't even use Google Assistant to see what it can say. Please copy the links from the chat, and please remain in touch by filling in the Google form. If you have all copied it, I will close this meeting. And Marco, I think I made you co-host before Google or Zoom took me out. And let's remain in contact. And sorry once again for such technical problem because of internet.
No problem. Thank you for the session.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Have a nice rest of the day, and please remain to the main stage.
Thank you. Bye, Christina. Nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you, Marco. Have a nice holidays. This was
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.